Please allow me to go ahead and get started. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Sir Robin, Baron of Locksley. That is until I had my title and my lands taken away. And you'll hear about my story. In fact, I'm no longer a baron, and I no longer have any lands, and do you know why? If you do something the king doesn't like, do you think you're going to stay in favor with the king? Or do you think the king is going to take away your title of baron? Take away all your lands and your properties. And if I have no land or properties, where else can I go? Where do you think I went?
Woods.
Ah, the forest. Does anyone know the name of the forest that I went to? Shh.
The hint.
Sherlock?
Close. My dear Watson. Close. That's Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, in case you didn't know. I went to the forest of Sherwood. Does that sound right? Now, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Not Peter Pan, no.
Robin.
I am Robin of the Hood, and you notice that's why I was wearing my hooded cape around up there, because I wanted you to know that I was an outlaw. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing that I'm an outlaw?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Let me tell you my story. Do you know how I became an outlaw?
I don't watch the movies and they never say how they became.
Oh, well, you know, actually in the last group, somebody recognized my warhammer, and they recognized this from the movie. Has anybody seen my movie? In the last battle, I'm swinging an English warhammer. Now, do you know why I chose this weapon? You see, a lot of times knights would wear thick armor, and it's hard to take your sword and to cut through that armor, because these swords are not really made for jabbing a lot. They're really made more for cutting. And when you're hitting armor and trying to cut through that armor, it's not going to go anywhere, is it? But this is heavy, and it has a very sharp point. So if I take this and I hit it on somebody's helmet, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go through the helmet, isn't it? Okay. Another thing is, you see the hammer end. It's not just for hammering nails. But if somebody is wearing armor, let's say up over their shoulder here, this is my sword arm. And if I'm wearing armor here on my sword arm, and somebody takes a hammer and they pound that armor close to my skin, guess what? I'm not going to be able to move my sword arm. Now, can a knight who's fighting with a sword fight without a good sword arm? No, he can't. So you see, that's why in that movie, I chose this particular weapon. Now, are you interested in how I became an outlaw? And I'll tell you why. Because I'm interested in some more people to join my cause. Some more outlaws. So I want you to think about it. Okay? And think if you might decide to join my cause. Because you might decide that being an outlaw isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes an outlaw can be a good thing. And if we have time later, I'm going to tell you about some other outlaws. Did you know the Pilgrims were outlaws? They were. They were outlawed by their king. And if we have time, we'll go over that. But let me go and tell you a little bit about my story. You see, I was a baron of Locksley. Under our good King Henry, I served him well. And Henry was a great king. We all loved our good King Henry. And King Henry actually helped us in furthering our English law. You see, in England, we Englishmen, we really believe in what we call the common law. And we believe that all men and women are equal under that law. King Henry tried to help us with that. You see, before the time of King Henry, we determine a person's guilt or innocence by trial, by ordeal. Does anybody have any idea what is a trial by ordeal? You're a knight. And you went over to this knight's lands. And you wrongfully tried to steal this knight's lands. Well, you come before the court. And you have to determine who was guilty and who was innocent. So as a noble person or somebody who is a knight, you know how you determine your guilt or innocence? Trial by combat. That is a type of trial by ordeal. Now,